evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere.
Within 24 hours, a confrontation between the searching forces of the United States and a Soviet vessel heading for Cuba must take place.
Kennedy and Soviet Premier Khrushchev tested each other's resolve, and in doing so, brought mankind closer to nuclear devastation than any time before or since. The rest of the world, including Fidel Castro, could only watch and wait.
The world breathes a little easier. Soviet ships would be photographed carrying the missiles out of Cuba.
While nuclear weapons would no longer be shipped, Cuban and Soviet commerce continued apace. Now, all that has changed.
The USSR is going through a very deep crisis, politically, economically, and socially. And of all our support, the USSR is the strongest pillar for our economic and social development.
This recent speech to the Committee for the Defense of the Revolution may have been the most difficult of Fidel Castro's career. It was a clear warning that Cuba was headed for economic crisis.
Needless to say, at this time, we don't know what is going to be the base for our commerce with the USSR next year. Nobody knows at this moment how much they are going to pay us for our sugar, for our products. How much are they going to charge us for their products supplied by the USSR? How much fuel can we hope to receive? That nobody knows at this moment. Nobody knows.
The Cuban waterfront is getting quieter all the time. Cuba has been searching the horizon for new trading opportunities. The survival of Cuba's system in the days ahead will not depend upon the generosity of a foreign power, but upon the resolve and patience of the Cuban people themselves.
We know about the situation that we have right now and about the one that can come, because Compañero Fidel has been explaining to the population the difficulties that we are going to have. But we are getting ready for this. The people are conscious that we are going to have more problems, and they are willing to do whatever is necessary to keep up the revolution.
Castro's Cubans are definitely their own people. But the world is changing around them. As communism in Europe fails, the Cubans try to hold a steady course, sometimes against the incessant winds of history.
Sugarcane, for 2 centuries the mainstay of the Cuban economy. And for all that time, both a blessing and a curse. A blessing because there are few places on earth where cane grows so well. A curse because Cuba, even revolutionary Cuba, has relied on little else for its prosperity. Cuba's #1 cash resource demands sweat, machete, and a national mobilization, all to bring in about 15 cents on the pound. Cuba is blessed with something else, sunshine all the year. and the most beautiful beaches in the world, like this one at Veradero. Cuba wants the world to rediscover the island's charms because they need tourist dollars for economic salvation. Veradero is a sparkling peninsula where decades ago millionaire families like the Astors, Vanderbilts, and DuPonts spent their winters. The Hotel Paradiso, Fidel himself recently dedicated this latest jewel. Castro's Cuba understands that cultivating a lucrative tourist trade requires more than beautiful beaches. They've entered the highly competitive arena of tourism. Well-traveled vacationers have high expectations, so Cuba has created special shops for tourists only. These shelves can never be empty if they're going to generate the desperately needed revenue. Restaurants have to offer world-class gourmet cuisine. The only lines tolerated here are for the buffet.
The food, the food is too good. It is very nice here, and we didn't thought that it was so nice. The people here in the hotel are so nice. They do everything for the tourists. The rooms are very clean, and it is very, very nice here. We didn't thought that it would be so nice to go to Cuba.
When they ask you where you're going, you tell them Cuba. They say, what? Cuba? What are you going there for?
I am a travel agent. So we researched a bit, we read it, but we just had no idea it'd be so beautiful.
Until now, Castro's Cuba hasn't had the expertise to cater to the beautiful people of Western capitalism, nor the cash to build luxury accommodations. So they've been getting assistance from Italian, French, and Spanish developers. They will have to invest millions in the hope that Cuba will be as popular as any Caribbean vacation spot. But for Castro's Cuba, the tourist industry is a double-edged sword. Providing foreigners with what the average Cuban can only dream of must bring back a sense of déjà vu. Haven't they been here before?
Brindemos por Tropicana.
Tonight's floor show at the state-run Tropicana celebrates 50 years of the lavish extravaganzas that have been the club's trademark. The kind of bourgeois decadence that fanned the fires of revolution only 30 years ago. Castro's Cuba has decided it has no choice but to play with this fire. They're just hoping they don't get burned. In a lot of big cities, Havana is no exception. The night reveals things that can't be seen or heard in the light of day.
I don't want any problems. No. I don't need any type of problem.
One young woman expresses her frustrations with the system, but even a simple statement of personal feelings exposes her to great risk.
I want to tell you something. The majority of my friends have graduated and they could have their careers. Do you understand? The reason why one doesn't follow their career for one reason or another, the main one is the pay. They pay you very badly, and because they pay you so little, unfortunately, one has to quit that job and start something else. Do you understand? Foreigners give you everything. One makes a lot of sacrifices here, and you can't see the result of your work. Me, for example, I studied dance, and aside from studying folk dance, I am a mechanic technician for textile machinery. They pay me very little. I work as a mechanic technician, and the pay is very low. Do you understand? And I graduated. I studied. So when you go into the world after years of studies, you want to buy things, but you can't afford them. Besides, you can't even find them. So you go to the black market. A purse. It costs 100 and something pesos. And if a worker makes 186 pesos, what's left for food, eh? So nobody can buy anything here. You can't even date people from the capitalist area. If he is from the socialist bloc, you can be with him. If he is from the capitalist area, you can't be with him.
And with the tourists?
No way. You are punished. Here there is a law called the law of danger. You are punished with 1 to 4 years in jail. Amongst those laws, there is an article on going out with foreigners. Of course, the other countries don't know about this. Is it here?
As dangerous as it is, hotel discos are usually filled with young Cuban women dancing with foreign tourists, technicians, and businessmen. Maybe the rewards outweigh the risks. A first-class night on the town, or some cash in one's pocket, or the ultimate prize, the prospect of marriage, and a ticket off the island.
In respect to food, we are very bad, because there is no meat, there is nothing. Everything is so expensive that now we are going backwards. Every day we are going backwards, backwards, backwards. Do you understand?
Rainy days over Havana. Lines are getting longer. Times are getting harder. Sacrifice and patience are now, more than ever, what the revolution requires. For many older Cubans, the revolution is still alive. Today's sacrifices are another chance to carry on the good fight. But 50% of Cuba's population was born after the revolution. As youngsters, they have been told that sacrifice is the price of a better future. Now the future has arrived, and it demands more sacrifice than ever. Will this generation continue to share the revolutionary zeal of their elders? Juan Formel is one of Cuba's most popular performers. He's a man in touch with the mood of Cuba's youth. Yet born before the revolution, he also understands that sacrifice is a way of life.
I am famous here in Cuba, and in a lot of places in the world. The extent to which one can be famous here in Cuba, I live a very simple and modest way of life. It's a little bit of a philosophy, not exactly of resignation, but that one in life has a goal. This sets a limit. And that is the way we live.
Tonight, Formel's band is performing in concert. It's a major event on any young Cuban's social calendar, because events like this are few and far between. The outdoor arena has room for only 2,000 young Havanaites. Everyone else will have to be satisfied with listening from the street.
I think that there is not a complete satisfaction among young people for things to do in their spare time. There is a perception that the youth need more entertainment possibilities. This is a problem. There are few places where people can go dancing.
Audience anticipation is high. A chance to dance to one of the hottest bands in Latin America. A chance to cut loose. As long as these kids are dancing, maybe the pressures and demands of life in Cuba can be diffused. Because a generation of dissatisfaction could well be the ultimate threat to Castro's Cuba.
Tal como habíamos prometido, en la noche de hoy el Salón Rosado, el salón más musical de la América Latina, presenta el fabuloso tren musical de la alegría, ¡Cuba! Para que tú lo bailes, para que tú lo bailes, sigue el movimiento, corrido de la mano. Dime si te gusta lo que está tocando el piano. Yo tengo una mujer que le sabe para bailar. Los viejos y los que te bailan. Míralo como corre, como vuela, como cae. Y volverás a la cosita se
Creo que la juventud nuestra siempre ha sido inquieta.
Well, our youth are always
Inquieta en el
searching,
orden de que no le gusta
but in the way that they don't like to feel pressured by things that they can't understand.
realmente no las entiende. Yo creo que
I think that the youth knows what is happening in Cuba. They know in the political and social sense what they represent in this moment. For me, I think that the youth is the most important thing that we have in this moment. We have been through a lot and made many sacrifices. Now we are giving the youth the future of this country.
Cuba has taught its children to think, and now they're thinking. And maybe what they're thinking is that they don't like what they're thinking. Will they continue to conform to the revolutionary discipline of their elders, or are they being tempted by the material world that looms 90 miles to the north?
Pero qué rico, pero qué bueno. Bueno, ¿qué puedo con esto? Vamos a matar aquí, dice. Pero qué rico, oye, vamos a un 5, porque es mucho. El negro está cansado ya. ¡Listo! ¡Chévere! Gracias.
At the far eastern end of the island are 45 square miles of prime Cuban coastline, occupied by Cuba's enemy. The United States Navy has had a base at Guantanamo since the turn of the century, and it has the right to stay as long as it pleases. As per arrangement, The Americans leased the land for $4,085 a year. Since 1959, Fidel Castro has refused to cash the checks. For Castro's Cuba, Guantanamo is a painful thorn in their side, an overt and irritating reminder of America's chokehold.
Our base here in Guantanamo Bay is the oldest United States military base located on foreign soil. We've been here a very, very long time. We've operated as a training station for a very, very long time, and I presume that we've been observed operating as a training station for a long time. We're here for the long haul.
The base is totally isolated from the Cuba that surrounds it. The only thing they exchange is mutual suspicion. And 35 Cuban workers, remnants of a more peaceful time when hundreds of Cubans worked on the base. These men may have the strangest commute in the Americas. Every morning, they enter a Cuban checkpoint to be searched. Then they walk a narrow path through the largest minefield in the Western Hemisphere. Granville Doofus has gone back and forth every working day for 31 years.
Well, on the job I have with the receipt control branch, and that's the section that has to take care of all the incoming shipments.
Thank you. Morning.
I'm a supervisor, and then the three people that work with me, they are Americans. The three American ladies.
Granville has a brother, Pat, who has lived on the base since a couple of years after the revolution. Like a lot of Cuban families, geopolitics has separated the two brothers.
I don't talk to him. I will call him on the phone and things like this, but I don't want the other commuters see me talking with him. They will get the impression that he's bringing news over to me. So I don't want to hamper his position.
Are you happy with the situation?
If I'm happy? Oh, yes, I'm happy like a lark. I'm a U.S. citizen now. I got my citizenship, and over here, they treat me very nice. Not only me, all the Cubans treated nice over here.
Beyond the minefield, the barbed wire, and the watchtowers, Guantanamo looks much like a town back home, with all the services and comforts of home. But there's no escaping the military character of the place. Guantanamo is a persistent symbol of U.S. hostility to the Cuban Revolution and the U.S. determination to give no ground without sweeping changes.
If I could conceptualize a wonderful thing to happen while I'm here, it would not be to fire a weapon across that fence, but it would be to see the gate coming open and to see what would go with that. Because, of course, it wouldn't come open with Castro, the communist, the international communist as we know him today. It would have to be a different sort of leader that would be able to do that.
Well, this is the great hope of the imperialists. Now the biggest hope is our situation becomes so difficult as a result of the situation in Europe and the USSR that we won't be able to hold out. This is their hope. We are planning to face an exceptional period for a time of peace. An exceptional and difficult period. There are several actions that we are taking. In fact, I already gave instructions not to start any new social programs. We wanted to build new schools to replace the old ones in the capital. We had a program to build new polyclinics. We had a program for daycare. At this moment, we stopped all these programs. Practically, we are not going to be able to have new household appliances available. This is too bad, but it's better than not having food available, medical supplies available. But not a single citizen will remain unprotected. Not a single citizen will be abandoned. That's a characteristic of our socialism, of our system. What are we going to do? Give up the revolution? Give up socialism? Give up independence? What we are going to do is resist and fight. I am saying resist, fight and win, of course.
Resist, struggle, and win. A new slogan for a new and difficult time. On the streets, the future is closing in. Cuba is struggling with the inevitability of change itself. And change will come to Cuba. Perhaps change will be encouraged by their neighbor to the north, who, by emphasizing mutual interests rather than mutual suspicions, will lessen the hardships of life in Cuba. Perhaps change will come from the Comandante. Fidel Castro may adapt by moving toward a more open political and economic system. If he doesn't, and the country's economy keeps plummeting, he could eventually face an internal explosion, the fate of his recently departed Eastern Bloc comrades. Ultimately, the burden of change falls to the Cuban people. People whose greatest challenge may be to fulfill their own vision of a Cuba just, proud, and for the first time in its history, truly independent.
Looking across the harbor at Havana this gray evening, you think about the reality of the past 30 years of Cuban-American relations. The reality that the two countries are only 90 miles apart. The reality that there are more Cubans in Miami than most cities in Cuba. The reality that all human beings want much the same things. The reality that the two countries are bound together whether they like it or not. Time to get used to that reality, perhaps. I'm James Earl Jones with Portrait of Castro's Cuba. Thank you for watching.